Hey guys, Kinda Funny is having a holiday sale. That's right. If you go to kindafunny.com/store for the next week, from Black Friday until the next Friday, you can get 10% off everything in the entire store. That's all the beautiful shirts that you know and love. That's the cups, the mugs, the stickers, all of that stuff is there. And the Let Tim Host shirts there for this week only. You need that. You need that in your life. Oh, are these all the T-Shirt Tuesday shirts that we exclusively had only on those Tuesdays? Yeah, they're back for 1 week only. All of them in one place. Buy them for you. Buy them for your sister, your friend, your neighbor, whoever you want to buy them for, even people you don't know. It's going to be great. 10% off. kindafunny.com/store. This episode is brought to you by Loot Crate. Would you classify yourself as a geek, gamer, or pop culture nerd? Then this is the subscription box for you. For less than $20 a month, you get 6 to 8 items of gamer and pop culture licensed gear, apparel, collectibles, unique one-of-a-kind items, and more. Make sure to head to lootcrate.com/KFGames and enter code KFGames to save $3 on any new subscription. Not that long ago, and depending on where you live, not so far away, Loot Crate blasted off into a voyage across the galaxy, searching the far reaches of space to find universally awesome gear. Using December's Star Wars The Force Awakens loot as the launch pad, we landed on some equally cosmic items from Halo 5 and more. With an exclusive Funko Pop and an exclusive shirt in this month's crate, this is the loot you're looking for. Remember, you only have until the 19th at 9 p.m. Pacific to subscribe and receive that month's crate, and when the cutoff happens, that's it. It's over. So go to lootcrate.com/KFGames and enter code KFGames to save $3 on your new subscription today. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first ever episode 47 of the Kinda Funny Gamescast. As always, I'm Tim Gettys, joined by the coolest dudes in video games, Colin Moriarty and Greg Miller. And today, we are also joined by one half of the other coolest dudes in video games duo, Chris Waters from GameSpot.com.
Hey guys.
Yeah.
Hey, how are you?
Yeah. Oh, I'm great.
Thank you for coming to our home.
It is my pleasure. Thank you for welcoming me in here.
Please, it's a pleasure.
What do you think?
It's great. You guys keep it nice and clean, which
we try.
as a matter of course.
That's Kevin.
We do.
It's all
Someone
Kevin.
has to still clean the house. So.
Yeah, this week is what I said. Tonight's my night.
Yeah, we'll see.
Tonight, gonna
Yeah.
make it happen.
Yeah.
I believe in you.
Thank you for coming. Okay, that's enough.
Sorry.
We're gonna live it
Thank you,
on
Greg.
up
Thank you.
in the sky.
So why
Virgin
are you here
America.
today?
I'm here on a book tour.
What?
I wrote a book about video games.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
What's the title?
It's called The Gamer's Bucket List.
I'm doing this.
50 video games to play before you die.
The lower third is risen. People see it
Before
now.
you
You can get it right now on
die.
Amazon. Links in the description.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yeah.
We're going to talk all about that in the second topic of this show.
That's
We
a
shall.
tease. In the
Yeah,
business, we call
it
it
is
a tease.
First off, we got to get through a bunch of just bookkeeping and stuff.
Well,
PSX. It's happening soon.
PSX is happening.
Yes.
If you're watching this or listening to this, if you're a patron, you're listening 1 week before. If you're listening to this on a Monday or any day after that, you are listening to it the week of PlayStation Experience. It's here in San Francisco. December 5th is the day. That's Saturday. PSX is happening. Sony's got a whole bunch of cool stuff. Good for them. The big news, 5 p.m. Saturday, PS I Love You XOXO. Come there. We're in the main stage, main theater. We're the only podcast there. Please come out and support us. We have a whole bunch of surprises and shenanigans ready to happen.
Really?
Shenanigans.
You guys are
Oh,
bringing
yeah.
shenanigans in finally.
Finally.
You've been so restrained
all
by
these,
shenanigans.
all
Tim.
these stuffy suits in this thing. We're gonna get in there and Sean Layden will tear his scarf off and we'll tell him this is our show now, Layden. And then Jillian's. We have a Kinda Funny meet and greet in partner with Just Cause 3 at Jillian's 8 o'clock on Saturday. All ages, free to get in, free food, bring money for booze.
And you don't need a PSX ticket to get
No,
in
if you're
right?
just bumming around in San Francisco and you're in for sure come, yeah. So everything's Saturday.
To be clear, you need a PSX ticket to get to the podcast.
Well, we had switched gears. We were talking about Jillian's.
Yeah, but it was unclear.
If you're somebody who can't keep it straight in your head, like Kevin, yes, you need to come to PSX and see the podcast at PSX where I tear Sean Layden's scarf off.
Sean
Layden. Oh, my shillelagh. Danny O'Dwyer getting in me. The spirit of the
God.
Irish. You know what I'm saying? Oi! Yeah, PSX, you need a badge. Meet and
Impeccable.
greet, you don't.
Yeah. And there's
Impeccable, right?
So on point.
two exclusive shirts.
Two
being
exclusive
sold,
shirts will be there.
And they're good.
They're very good. Limited quantities. We will reveal them at the PSX panel for PS I Love You.
Thank you for saying that, because I was about to ruin this surprise, Greg.
No surprises will
I'm
be
happy
ruined.
I didn't. But speaking of shirts, there's also a sale going on for Black Friday, which if you're listening to this, you'd be listening to this either on Friday or over the week that the sale is occurring.
Oh, so it's a week-long
It's a
sale.
week-long sale from Friday to Friday.
Gotcha.
10% off everything in the store. And the most important thing, we're bringing back all of the T-Shirt Tuesday exclusive shirts from the last year.
Oh, neat.
They're coming back. And there's a Let Tim Host shirt, which is this month's T-Shirt Tuesday. and I like it a lot.
Are we putting that up on Tuesday? Or just putting that up?
Putting it up on Friday.
Gotcha.
It's at the wholesale because I don't want to be messing with people and making. I want them to be able to order.
Kindoffunny.com/store.
Is
Go
your
buy 'em for your
self-esteem
friends and stuff.
directly tied to the sales numbers
Yes,
of that shirt?
entirely.
Yeah.
So
Is
please
Portillo
buy
still
that.
the best-selling shirt we have, though? Mm-hmm. God damn. That's where our self-esteem's at.
Yeah. Dogs
Fucking
have
loaf
them,
of
man.
a dog getting more views and more sales.
You're done.
Yeah, so check it out, kindoffunny.com/store. So yes, if you want this show early, you can go to patreon.com/kindoffunnygamescast. Every week we talk about video games and stuff that we like. It's broken out topic by topic over on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. You know the drill by now. Let's get right into it. Topic 1 of the day. Star Wars Battlefront.
Ooh.
Who here's been playing it?
Me. You?
Yeah.
You raised your hand.
Yeah.
Kevin's raising his hands. Chris is raising his
Ken,
hand.
put your hand down.
Colin is the only person in the room not
So
raising his
your
hand.
only real experience with it was the Let's Play you did with one
Right.
Nick Scarpino.
Right.
Yes.
I don't have anything to say about it.
Nothing to say.
Nope, nothing at all.
You've been watching Greg play it though.
Are you gonna put me?
That was funny. No,
Yeah,
I was pulling
it
you out of the
was, it was,
conversation
it
and I brought you back.
I did. My whole thing on it is I'm interested in that it's settling in a lower Metacritic score than I thought it was going to get, and it seems like people like it, but also have complaints that it seems pretty shallow. It's not a very hardcore shooter. But when I watch Greg play it, all I can think about is like, what a waste. This would have been an awesome single player game. Look at these models. Look at these environments and the places they go and stuff. Like, what a fucking waste. That's the only thing I can think
Yeah.
of. That's all I have to say. I'm out.
Now, Colin.
So inherent in that though is part of you looking at it and saying, "Holy crap, this looks awesome!"
Oh, yeah, it looks
because
amazing.
You want it to be. You just want it in that single player format. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's the thing about this game. I was playing it this weekend when I was away with some friends, and anyone who was in the room was just kind of watch.
Yep.
And like these are people who are not necessarily down with watching video games, and they're like, it just looks so damn good.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Christine was watching me play last night while she was packing for this trip, and she was looking over and she was just like, this game's beautiful. Like, this game is spectacularly pretty. The way the grass moves on indoor as you move around. Yeah.
Authentic is the word that I go to. Like
Okay.
it feels so Star Wars, and I love
Yeah.
that so much. The thing, Colin, that I want you to know is there is not like a campaign mode, but there is single player missions.
Yeah, that I know, but that's not.
But they're worth doing. The problem is, I do wish that there was like a story that kind of brought you through the things, and it was a little bit more. I wish there was more there, but really, it is just random missions as if you were playing them out of order and without any story or context. But like they're fucking awesome. The tutorial missions, like the Endor chase and like the X-wing.
I did the
thing.
X-wing one
Like,
last night.
I liked it. It's like, hey, all the fun shit that you want to do, here, you just get thrown right into it. And the survival modes, I haven't even played online at all.
Yeah.
I've just done the single player stuff, and I'm having a great time with it.
Interesting.
It's definitely shallow. It definitely is not a super deep shooter game. Like it's interesting to me that like it feels like a old school like PS2 era game, and the way that the weapon systems work,
Like a
and,
Battlefront
like,
game.
Very true. It does feel like a Battlefront game compared to a Battlefield game, which I thought it was going to be a little bit more updated feeling than it is.
Yeah. So I wonder, campaign-wise, like obviously a single-player campaign is a whole different undertaking. That's a whole different scope of the project. What if they had done something like Titanfall, where they are using the maps that you see in the competitive multiplayer, using sections there, and just kind of like scripting some waves of enemies and like loosely tying it together along sort of some kind of story involving an elite rebel squad or a specific imperial detachment. Like, would that have done it for you? Think?
Yeah, anything. It's just I don't like multiplayer games, so I mean, it's just my bias against multiplayer, and I just see a studio as talented as DICE, obviously with a lot of online bona fides, making the game. Yeah, something that Titanfall, I mean, is another game that's clearly suffered at retail and in longevity because of its lack of single player functionality in terms of like something meaningful. I mean, just because you can play a game by yourself doesn't mean it has a campaign or something that's worth delving into. I mean, this is not the spirit of the game though. So I understand that I'm looking for something that's not really there. But what I had mentioned on Colin and Greg, which I think would be fun and interesting and something that maybe they'll consider doing is like, now the assets exist, now this engine's obviously running in this particular way in this particular universe. Why not let, they're clearly they already said they're gonna make more Battlefront. So why not let DICE continue to do that and shift that shit off to another studio that can take a lot of those assets and just make a single player campaign for the next game or whatever, because it's I really feel like Battlefront is going to not benefit from not having a robust campaign in the same way that people complain about Titanfall. It's just that it's Star Wars, so it's going to sell 15 million copies or whatever and be totally fine. It's just, I think there's more that could have been done here, especially considering the game isn't quite as deep as I expected it to be anecdotally from what I've been hearing from people. Like those are the two things I hear is there's just not much meat on the bone, and it's not very hardcore. You know, like it's a very casual kind of shooter, and compared to some of the other shooters people play like COD or something like that. So,
well, what's interesting is like, is that good enough, right? Like I'm right there with you. I don't play multiplayer games, right? That's not really what I get into. I don't get into shooters all that much either. And like it was, I forget what trailer it was where we were watching. I was like, damn, that actually looks kind of interesting. And then I watched you guys do your Let's Play. I was like, damn, that looks fun. And then when it got here and I popped it in for me, and like I gotta pull back the curtain here. Like right now we're recording this right before Thanksgiving, right? So I'd platinumed Fallout, and then it was like I don't want to start Tomb Raider yet because I'm going away for Thanksgiving. So what do I? Oh yeah, Battlefront. Oh, Battlefront's out, great. And now it's just like, yeah, I pop in, I play a match, and then somebody needs me for something else, I go do something, or I sit there and like the night one, Kevin and I sat down and played. Like the hours melted away. I haven't had that experience in a while. Where Christine came out and tapped me on the shoulder. I'm like, yeah, what's up? She's like, I'm going to bed. I'm like, what? What time is it? What are you talking about? I'm like, all right, cool. I'm like, I'll be in a little bit. And then it was another.
I just want you to know.
It was another 2 hours before Kevin and I were done because he wanted to get his jetpack, and it was just like
Classic Kevin.
Oh, you
Damn.
gotta get that jetpack. I'm missing it so bad from the beta. Oh, it's the best.
And that's the thing is like it's just right now it's that perfect level of like it is definitely a light, you know, first person shooter. It isn't, you know, getting in and trying to play Call of Duty or something online for me, which has been a turnoff. But this one is, I'm getting in, I'm competitive, I'm there, and I feel like I'm making progress and I'm having fun. And I'm just playing deathmatch. I haven't tried any. Last night Christine was watching, like, so when does somebody become Vader? I'm like, it's a different mode. I don't even know. I'm just running around shooting stuff.
You're not trying to fly X-Wings?
No, I'm like just running around shooting stuff for now, having fun, trying to unlock that Han blaster everybody has. That's awesome. Well, I stick there. But it's like, there's something, it's easy enough to wrap your head around and get good at and go. Now, the thing about it is, when I come back, maybe by the time this posts, am I still playing Battlefront? I don't know. You know what I mean? Have I moved on to something else? Or is it still that fun Bazooka Joe distraction, right? Of like, well, I got 30 minutes. Why not play a little bit?
I think it's occupying an interesting space because it is a big budget AAA shooter, right?
Yeah.
And the other ones you see sort of in that space, your Halo, your Call of Duty, you know, those games are intimidating to people, I think. Those games are... Oh man, like, what do you think of if you're someone who doesn't play multiplayer shooters a lot? You know, those have the strength of a campaign going for them. But in terms of like competitive play, in terms of a multiplayer shooter kind of pace and feel, I think that Battlefront casting the net wide is a great thing. I think that people who see these commercials of the X-Wing coming up outside of a building and like jumping out, like I think those people exist in the millions.
Yeah.
Like I have like. Maybe like 10% of my friends that I grew up playing with video games still actively play video games today. But a lot of them are like all of a sudden texting me about this game, about Battlefront.
Same thing with me. My friend Poe, right, who doesn't own a current gen console, hit me up. He's like, so is this Battlefront game going to be awesome? Because he's a Star Wars fan and it looks awesome and it's right there for him. And so, yeah, it is awesome for him.
And I think that, the visual spectacle, the fact that it is so Star Wars, the fact that it's backed by DICE, like, it just sounds incredible. And then also, you know, there are bullet tracers and stuff you can see in Battlefield, but seeing blaster fire, like, that just gives, like, the fact that it's a neon line streaking across, it just gives the Battlefield such a great feel. I think that it's a success in a lot of ways, and I've been having a good time with it. But yeah, it's a good question. Am I going to be digging it in 2 weeks? I don't know.
And that's the thing. And it's one of those I honestly don't have an answer for. I would think no, that I'll jump in and I'll go into Tomb Raider and then play more Assassin's Creed and da-da. But I'm going to have those moments where it's like, I got 45 minutes. Like, what do I? You know, I'm not going to go and try to do something in Tomb Raider. I could easily sit here and do that. And it's fun because it's interesting, I should say, because like the night one when I was out there and you were talking to me about it, Colin, right? We were having this conversation about multiplayer shooters and how there's no story. And I was saying, well, you know, like I've always thought part of multiplayer shooters is taking these maps, these basic tools, and making your own story, right? Of those moments you remember. And now as I go back to these maps for like the 7th, 8th, dozenth time, you know what I mean? It is that thing of like, oh, remember when I had that kill streak right over there? So if I run over, oh wait, and there's a guy who always hides over, you know what I mean? Like getting those little things of like, fuck, I'm enjoying this and like totally starting to love like these little things about it.
That's cool, but that's not the thing about. I mean, that is cool, and I love watching these little vines people put up or these short videos of people. I saw someone, I think it was Ryan Albert, put up a video of Luke force pushing a snowtrooper into a TIE fighter, which I like, that was flying by. I was like, that's fucking cool. I mean, there's a lot of cool. There's a lot of cool moments, but that, like what you're saying, is not unique to Battlefront. And so that's
100%.
And so
no, I know that.
That's not. I mean, that's a unique thing to just any game you play online. So it's. I'm curious as an outside observer. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I'm a fucking massive Star Wars fan. But as an outside observer who has no interest in playing this game, I'm interested in two things. I'm interested in seeing the legs on this game. The game's clearly going to sell, but we saw a significant. Again, Titanfall is really the ancillary to this in terms of a game that had no single player offerings that made people want to keep the game for a long period of time. And I know that people point at Call of Duty and they're like, well, who cares about the campaign? Well, a lot of people do. When we talked to the guys I play the campaign in Call of Duty every year. I have for years. So it's like, that's all I play. I don't care about anything else. So, because it's like I always say, it's like my weekend action movie, and they're fucking finely made games. But when we talked to the guys from Sledgehammer when we did GameStop Expo, they were like, well, you'd be surprised like how many people are actually like you. Because I thought I was in the minority, and they're like, our statistics show that it's actually more than you think. So I'm interested to see the legs of this game. And I'm also interested to see, as a side of that, how people are already reacting very negatively to the season pass. Not surprisingly, and a game that is seemingly somewhat shallow on the outside are going to be injected with a lot of content now. It's going to rub people the wrong way. So I'm interested to see how that all unfolds. But I'm also interested to see, now that the tech's been there. I mean, DICE is using familiar engine and stuff like that. But now that like we said, the universe is there and the confines of the Star Wars universe are there, how bulky will the next game be? Because they have a lot of shit that's done already, and how much will they be able to expand now with Episode 7 and Rogue One and all that kind of stuff that they are able to inject in this game when the time comes. So as an outside observer, I'm just interested to see how this does, because this is clearly going to make a lot of money, but is it going to win a lot of goodwill from the gamer in the long run because of its shallowness? When there are more hardcore shooters out there, because you look at Call of Duty, I have not played the new Call of Duty yet in any substantial way. I did 2 videos for our site, but I have not sat down and played it. But it has a campaign, it has zombies mode, which is going to be awesome, and it is awesome for a lot of people. And then it has a whole online suite, and it's the same price. So it's like, you have to, and the online component of Call of Duty is certainly deeper, just that section of it. So it's I can understand why people are a little upset or a little skeptical. And
well, what's interesting is it's back to the question of will they vote with their wallet, and it's also back to the financials of EA, right? They've got me, and on paper, I shouldn't give 2 shits about this game. I don't like multiplayer games, and Star Wars is fine. You know what I mean? Like, you guys were like, let's watch each movie and do a review. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to watch them again. You know what I mean? But like, I enjoy it. I like it fine. I'm not like a hater. But it's like, I'm into this game, imposed into this game, and your friends are asking you about this game. So it's like, if they bring those people in, then we get down to the fact of like, yeah, what if then the people who are like complaining right now, it's not that deep data, if they stick around. Think about how many people stuck around with Destiny when that was vanilla, right? Yeah. And not that they're the same thing. Obviously, there was customization in Destiny, this, that, and the other. I'm not saying exactly the same thing. But if you get over that hump and you stick with it, maybe it works out. I don't know.
Sure. I think there's a question here about like what keeps people engaged in a shooter. Is it a deep unlock tree? Is it being able to prestige over and over again? Is it hardcore mechanics, like something that you would see, I guess, in a Battlefield, in terms of like the interplay and the drastically different roles you can play within that game? Or is it like, for Battlefront, what would its longevity look like? It would look like someone who has 30 minutes, 45 minutes one night just being like, look, I want to get in there, I want to blast somebody, I want to like get in an ATST for a hot minute and blast some people and get blown up and then be done. Like, I think this is like, but I'm immersed in this rich world of Star Wars, and I think that is a value add that we shouldn't discount in terms of people's ongoing satisfaction and enjoyment with the game. Like, people are going to be hyped about Star Wars well through December, well into the new year, and even though it's, the new trilogy, still they're going to be coming back to that old like Star Wars feel to like have their lightsaber moment, have that stuff. I think I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a little more longevity out of this than Titanfall, just because of the Star Wars appeal. Yeah,
I mean, the license, I think, is the most important part, and that's, I think, why it's so shallow of a product. The fact that so much attention was given to the little things and to the beams and to the music and to the look of everything, that like each map needs to be exactly right, and it is. Yeah, and like I think that's where the DLC is going to come in and like give those people the new little fresh, like, oh cool,
another reason to jump in and play for a week,
especially like they're releasing the Jakku or whatever planet in December. Right when people are going to be watching Force Awakens, seeing that planet for the first time, like people are going to be stoked.
Yeah, it's for Titanfall, which was a hardcore shooter, right? In terms of like the skill trees and this, that, and the other. Like for me, I remember when I regen the first time, and like it was such a turnoff to me. That's prestiging or whatever, and you start back at 0, and then it's like, all right, to get to the next level, to do this, you have to get like 50 shotgun kills and this, that, and I was like, I don't want to do this. Like I was progressing and making something. So like right now, I am set on getting to level 15, getting my jetpack, but more importantly, being able to buy the head with the girl who has the ponytail. That's what I want. I want out of the Stormtrooper helmet and this weird ass helmet the Rebels have, and I want my ponytail bopping around. You know what I mean? Like that's totally goofy and shallow and weird. But like at the end, when I have it where I have I've unlocked the jetpack, the ponytail, whatever else I.
Are you talking about a Twi'lek here? Is that what you're saying? Ponytail wraps around.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what you're talking about.
No,
Like,
it's
what the hell
just
are
a
you talking
totally
about?
normal girl ponytail.
Okay.
The crazy heads are way later.
Oh,
Way
okay,
later.
yeah.
I just want a
that's
ponytail.
like level 40. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's deep. That's a deep investment.
When Adam Kovic was here, we chose for both this. I'm just like some 55-year-old old lady running around the blaster, and I want her.
I love that.
Peruskin.
I love that they have these old people.
Yeah,
in
they've
the,
seen
like,
some
on
shit,
this-
man, in the Empire.
Hell
They
yeah.
gotta know
So
what's up.
good.
Yeah, I think to the points you guys are making, I think that the game was, I don't want to say focus tested because I'm sure it was, but it was definitely a lowest common denominator shooter, and I think that's what's going to at least that's my impression of it. And I played it for that time on a Let's Play, and I was way too good at it considering that I'm not a multiplayer guy. So I'm like, yeah, this is I'm not saying I was great at it, but I'm like this is not Call of Duty.
Didn't it feel good to be good though?
Yeah, no, it did, and that's the thing. I think you're right that this probably is a more casual game aimed at a more casual audience. It's not an insult. It's to say that, yeah, this is probably what the void it's trying to fill, and I think it's going to fill it very successfully monetarily. And we'll see, Star Wars is definitely going to benefit from, being part of the zeitgeist for the next 6 years. So it's not like people are going to forget about it, and then it will have more legs than Titanfall because Titanfall didn't sell very well. So this is certainly going to proliferate more than that game, but. Yeah, I also understand people's reservations about it, and I do think the season pass shit's getting a little out of control now. And people are going to speak with their wallet and buy these things, and that's great. But there is something unsavory about it. But it's the same way I felt about Batman, and it's so I get people's complaints about it as well. But does it look fun and like kind of just even if it's ephemeral, it still seems like something that's there. It's fan service over the top fan service. At the end of the day, I mean the Battle of Hoth is fun, but I'm also like. Why are there A-wings and TIE interceptors here and shit? Like, what is going on here? So it's a
You're
little
the only one, Colin.
No, I am definitely not. I guarantee you, knowing Star Wars nerds like I do, I am not the only one that's wondering why there's X-wings fighting. When we have snow speeders fighting because they're atmospheric craft. Snow speeders can't go into space, Kevin. So it's
especially when the TIE fighters can just fly over the snow speeders and shoot them because the snow speeders can't go real high.
Yeah.
What the hell?
So it's like something Colin would have made up when I was 8 years old and playing with my toys or my blocks and making these that is what it is.
And that's awesome.
It is awesome, but at the same time, we've seen the Battle of Hoth so many times, in Rogue Squadron games and all that kind of stuff. It's like these are and going back to the PC games, and we've seen these battles many times, so it's hard for me to say like I would like to do that again, but I'd like to do it again, and I would like to just do the AT-ATs and the snow speeders and just fucking have it out as opposed to this maelstrom of fucking nonsense that's basically going on over the planet. It's like insane. It's completely insane. Vader's like running around. Luke's running around dressed as he's dressed. It looks like in Jedi. It doesn't make any sense.
Oh my
Don't we
goodness.
understand that, Kevin? I think he has his green lightsaber, which he didn't even build until Shadows of the Empire.
How do you feel about the Emperor's move, his mobility? Have you seen this
No.
move? So his
Walks
move is
like
like
an angry
a
baby.
dash. Well, yes. So he's walking around, but he has a dash move that's like a Psycho Crusher. Like he's like M. Bison. He just twirls and but he's wearing a long cloak, so it like furls out all around him like he's doing some sort of pirouette. It's the silliest looking thing. I laugh every time I see it, but it's kind of delightful.
Well, he's down there fighting on Hoth. He doesn't have anything better to do.
exactly.
It's good for troop morale to see.
Sure.
He's
the big
he's
brass
one of
getting
us.
dirty. Yeah.
The one thing that I'm happy about, like talking about the casual thing, is I think that they nailed the getting people to the fun parts fast and having them have it be pretty easy to understand and grasp and do cool shit. Like when you're flying the X-Wing, it just makes sense. And you're like, in the tutorial missions, there's like a canyon run thing you do. And it's like, you start getting ballsy and like trying to find little holes to squeeze through and like turn the ship and stuff. And it's fun. And the same thing with the Endor chase and like you can just jump in and play as Vader or the Emperor and just fuck shit up. And it's like within 5 minutes of turning the game on, you could play as Vader if you want, just fuck things up and understand how to do it. And the controls are pretty simple.
Well, if you get lucky and grab the little blue ghost coin faster than your teammates do.
Well, no, I'm talking about like in the
in a
missions.
different mode. Yeah, you totally can.
And it's like, that's cool. I like, because I was worried that you'd have to fucking level up and do all this other
Right.
shit. But
Oh, yeah. I had a fun battle between Luke Skywalker and Boba Fett. There's a mode where you choose a hero, and then you have you play like one-on-one versus AI or versus your buddy, and then you have like AI people accompanying you. You have your like squad you're fighting with of just rando soldiers, and then it's like kill confirmed in Call of Duty. They drop tokens, you have to pick them up, but like we're inside this hangar, and so like Boba Fett obviously super mobile, jetpack and all around, but Luke is actually also quite mobile. He jumps really high, and it was just this like epic duel of Fett versus Skywalker, like trying to pin each other down, and like totally absurd. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm like that's gonna be fun 5 times.
yeah.
It was fun once.
Yeah. No, that's a good point.
And again, Luke never even encountered Boba Fett, so I'm just saying.
Non-canonical.
Doesn't
When he gets eaten by the pit, remember? And remember that Boba
Yeah, but-
Fett,
but
of course, was a
doesn't-
clone who
doesn't,
wasn't programmed.
Doesn't he reflect the bullet? That
Oh right, yeah. I was gonna say I thought that was Han though.
on. I know blood.
I heard that Han shot first, was it?
Yeah, he
Did you hear that Boba Fett
There's
is
a-
just a clone
there's
that
a-
is in program?
There is a trophy in Super Star Wars on PS4 and Vita for Han to shoot first at Greedo in the game, and then in parentheses says yes, it's possible. And I don't think anyone has it yet. I was
That's
interested to
awesome.
see how it goes down. Yeah, no, I was being facetious.
There's a shoot first silver in Battlefront for getting the first kill. I got it.
Good.
All
You're so
right.
good.
Yeah.
Killed myself.
So, Chris, you wrote a book.
I wrote a book.
What's it called?
It's called The Gamer's Bucket List.
Where can people
50
get
video
it?
games to play before you die. Get it on Amazon at the link. Right
It's in the
here
description.
that Greg is gesturing to.
Or you just go to Amazon, you
right
search.
It's there on
Gamer's Bucket
Amazon too. Yeah, it's in my Twitter profile as well, CT Waters. You can find the link there. It's a list book.
Good.
It's like-
I love. There's two things I love: lists and video games, not books. I was about to put books in there.
This is 2 out of 3 though.
Yeah, so
you
we're
know,
good.
Maybe
We're good.
open your eyes to some book
Some books.
situation.
This one I will. It's a list.
Yeah, so basically I got this opportunity to write this book through a publisher, and they were like, yeah, you're just going to have to pick 50 video games from all video games ever and make your list based on sort of what parameters you wanted to.
Did you say no problem, then hang up and go, oh, that's a huge problem?
Like, oh my God. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we've all written lists in our time.
Once or twice.
And so the key is to you have to set your parameters. Like, what am I going to put in this book? So
Gotcha.
the stuff that I wanted to put in was I wanted to write it in a way that, you guys would read it and you'd read about Red Dead Redemption. And even though you've played that game, you've read so much about it, you'd read it and be like, yeah, that game was really awesome.
Yeah.
But then also you pass it to your mom when you're home for Thanksgiving and she's like, it's a cowboy game. She reads but she reads 300 words about it and she kind of understands the experience. I steered away from like terms. Like I didn't mention the word roguelike when I wrote about Spelunky. You know, like I wanted this to be super accessible because that's kind of the niche that it is. Like it's like $12. Like Barnes and Noble's gonna it's the kind of thing that I imagine is put by a register and people are just like,
Oh, sure. My
Packing
kid
this
likes
in.
video games.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think that it's that broad. It's a broad appeal kind of book. It's not a history lesson per se. It's not a sort of here are like the most significant games in history, and if there's a significantly awesome game and then the sequel is like a little bit more awesome, I'll choose the sequel. So
So Uncharted 3 confirmed in the book.
No.
no, it's Uncharted 2.
Damn it.
One of the restrictions I put in there for myself, for my sanity, was about online connectivity. Because I wanted people to be able to I wanted it to be somewhat future-proof. Obviously, any list book is kind of immediately outdated in video game world, more or less. But if the primary way that a game excels is online, I left it out. So no MMOs, no Call of Duty and Battlefield are even though they have some campaigns, primarily, my enjoyment of those games has come from the online shooting multiplayer competition. So I left them off the list. But even still, it was hard to narrow it down.
Yeah. So what were the parameters you set up other than online stuff?
I just sat down and was like, what? If I was going to talk with someone about the greatest games,
Yeah.
what would I start with? And that was another thing, taking ownership of I'm the author of this book. These are all my opinions.
Yeah.
I
There's
can-
no committee to vet this against.
Yeah, I am obsessed with Rocket League and have been since launch. I'm going to put Rocket League in there
Damn right
because
you
I
do.
also feel like I can back that as one of the greatest sports games ever created. And so just sort of brainstorming, coming up with, a lot of them are really popular titles, but then there's some other ones that sort of go a little bit in different directions. I put Her Story in there because I think
nice.
that's such a fascinating way to feel investigative.
Yep.
There's a lot of investigation in games, but if you're putting on detective mode and just looking for the highlighted thing, you don't feel like an investigator.
Or it's LA Noire where I went down the list of every name till they were like, that's the name. I was like, yeah, it is. You're goddamn right it
I'm
is. I
such
knew
a
it.
detective.
So I wanted to, put that alongside Skyrim and Civilization 5 in terms of just here is the broad diversity of gaming sampled. You read this book, you're going to see that there's just so many awesome things about games.
What were the controversial picks? that you put on the
Well,
list?
I haven't like received the book is out now. It came out on Tuesday the 24th, the physical copy. I haven't received a deluge yet of like
Yet.
why isn't it on there? But I did put my Twitter handle in the book, like reach out to me, like let's talk about stuff that's in there, or not in there. I don't know if I anticipate. Okay, so I was talking with some of my former coworkers on the reviews team at GameSpot, Kevin Van Ord, Tom McShay, Carolyn Pettit, and I was like, I'm putting a God of War in there, and they were like, God of War 2 sounds great, but I put God of War 3.
Nice.
Much to their consternation, but like I felt like that's a new the next console generation. The spectacle of that series is a lot about it, So like I was having these arguments with myself, making it like, okay, what is the person on Twitter gonna say? What when I talk to Colin about it, what is he gonna come at me with? Like, I cannot believe that you put such and such game on there. So I did that to an extent, but also had to just be like, look, this is gonna be fun to read. It's gonna be fun to read about great games. It's not comprehensive. That is impossible.
Yeah.
So what? I'm curious. I have a few questions. What is the oldest game on the list?
The oldest game on the list is Tetris.
Tetris. And what is the platform distribution? Do you touch like everything from Tetris, so like NES era through Genesis, Super Nintendo, and then all the way up till PS4 and Xbox One? Or
Yeah, so there's not a ton of Genesis, Super Nintendo stuff. Like I also was kind of had in mind like accessibility. Like, not every game I write about needs to be like downloadable from Steam or something like that, but I want it to be kind of reasonably plausible that people were going to get access to it. So like I didn't put Dreamcast games on there, but that's also because I don't like personally have a ton of experience with Dreamcast. So that also sort of fed into it. But yeah, there's like, there's Super Mario World and there's Super Metroid and Mega Man 2 from that era. But then also, stuff like Super Meat Boy. So like I'm looking at, platformers like Sonic that I like really enjoyed on the Genesis when I was a kid, but like, all right, what was cool about that game? Like fast platforming, and like Super Meat Boy does like precision fast platforming incredibly well. That fills this niche really well. I don't need to go into the past to pull something from that. I try to cover my bases. I had this like Excel spreadsheet with like all these different attributes in different columns listed about the games, just to try to make sure the net was covered to some degree.
Did you talk to anyone? Like, was it just you coming up with this, or did you kind of go back and forth with some people?
I came up with like maybe 80%. I've had the list, and then I was like, oh crap, I only have like 10 slots left, and so I started asking people, my friends I mentioned earlier, some of my good friends who still do play games passionately, like, what would you want to see on the list? I didn't like take to Twitter and ask or anything, but I did, do research and peruse, like, all right, what games am I forgetting? What genres am I trying, like, not representing? So yeah, it was mostly me, but I mean, and I made the final decision on all of it because what I had to submit to the publisher was the table of contents and then 300 words on each game, and then they sort of populated the book with all these nice screenshots. I was hoping to have a copy here today, but there was some shipping goofs.
God dang it,
Goofs out there in the shipping verse, but yeah. Yeah, it was really fun to kind of like, yeah, because like I found myself writing about these games, and I'm like, okay, yeah, let me write about like Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, which is a game that like really moved me personally. But then write about Skyrim, and like writing about that game, and there's been so much said about it. So many books, blogs, videos, whatever written about it. But writing about it again, it sort of resonated with me. Like, oh right, this is a game that people take for granted as one of the best games ever, but like actually writing about why it is the best. Like I felt myself getting hyped for these games as I'm typing them up. And I like tried to put that into the writing too. Cause like, I want you to read a passage on a game and get hyped for it. Even if, you've played it before or if you've never heard of it.
Good way to be.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you have any questions, Portillo?
I mean, yeah, it's interesting. I guess for me, when we were at IGN and we would do lists, it was always the thing I hated the most. Because it would inevitably be us locked in a room. Colin and I would barter and trade down to get the list to where it is. And then we'd bring in other people and they'd be like, what about this game? What about that game? And I guess the argument was always, well, we didn't play that, so we can't back it or whatever. You know what I mean? But like I said, when it's just your list, it's pretty easy.
Yeah, when it's your list, like the buck stops here. I didn't put this one on there because I had some reasons, or because it just filled up. I don't know. There's no sort of like there's no consensus that needed to happen. And so I think that like, yeah, people are gonna have fun seeing what I chose, and they're also gonna have fun writing me on Twitter and being like, "You son of a bitch."
Is there a ranking to it, or is it just 100?
So I wrote in the forward that like
50.
I chose 50, and like narrowing that list down was hard enough. I could not rank top
that's smart. That's
1
smart.
through 50. So I literally I chose Spelunky first because that's like probably my all-time favorite.
That's
game.
what jumped in your mind when you got the book. Like, I'm making
no,
this, and Spelunky's on it.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. Spelunky was. I was like, that has to be on there because
you can go for it.
Spelunky's incredible. So I put that first, and then literally Googled random number randomizer, and then randomized the rest of the list, and that's the order of the book. But yeah, there's extra little bells and whistles in there. There's a forward from Craig Skistimus from Screw Attack,
We know him.
who I like collaborated with on it a little bit, and then there's like a list at the end of the book of all the games with like 5 stars and like rate it yourself, keep track of the ones you've played and
that's really
ones you
cool.
haven't played. There's a little history of gaming with some like Wikipedia facts and stuff like that in there. Yeah. So it's a fun little, I think it's a fun little like gift book. It's a fun little holiday thing. And it's just kind of a neat like survey of like video games are really, really great. And I wanted it to, be accessible to people as well. So
How cool is it to know you're gonna have a book in bookstores?
it's it's pretty cool. I mean, I have some experience. Like, I don't know if you guys know that I like my face is in Target a little bit.
Oh, I've seen you. I've tweeted
I think
tweeted you some pictures.
Some
just like,
selfies.
have you guys seen this?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I just hear Chris's voice. I'm like, what the hell's happening? I look over and it's just like the little screens. It's like, you should buy Wii U. I'm like, okay.
Should you?
I never said that. But like, so I have some experience of people like tweeting pictures of me in a store at me, but like, that's like a short video we did through GameSpot. But this is like something that I made, I
is
wrote,
you,
I
yeah,
like
yeah.
totally, and like, I'm like reading through and it's like, yeah, I did a good job with this. And so, yeah, I'm super excited.
Was it
It's
hard
really
to
exciting.
balance your time? You know what I mean? Like we know the life of having a 9 to 5, then coming home to work on a passion project. But ours was yelling at a camera and then we edited or whatever. I feel like a book and going back and forth with a publisher and doing all this different legwork and trying to pick your list, did it like consume everything for a while?
It did for a while. Yeah, it was actually a really short turnaround. I started at the beginning of August and I had to submit my draft by like Labor Day weekend.
Oh, wow.
So that's like 5 weeks I had. So I literally like penciled out a calendar and was like, okay, so like Tuesday night I come home. We have to go to the grocery store. I can't work that night. Wednesday night, I can write 2 to 3, and like I'm working with my wife to like clear up our schedule.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
need this Saturday. I can write like 7 to 9, depending on how it goes on Saturday. So I had to rigorously schedule it. And I was talking with another friend of mine, Laura Parker, who's an author and writes for a bunch of outlets, the New Yorker, New York Times and stuff. And she was writing a book herself. And she was just like, how do you have any sort of, how do you marshal your thoughts? How do you start in on a book? It was a little easier because this is like a very clearly formatted, like I can write one, I can get it done in a night and I can have that ticked off. I don't have to like structure a chapter or something like that. So that definitely helped with the quick turnaround. But yeah, it consumed a lot of my life for a very brief amount of time. And then like, okay, now I'm just going to wait. And then here's the final proof edit. Oh my God, I have to spend all weekend looking at this thing and fixing errors. Okay, and then it's gone. You're just going to wait to hear from us. And now it's sort of book tour, like, go around and promote it. And then I don't know what's going to happen after that.
Where else are you going on the Today Show? It seems like when people have books, they go on the Today Show.
I feel like I should get some CBS leverage here, but
Right?
but it's like a separate thing. It's separate from the work endeavor. Like you guys know, personal projects sometimes have to be. So I did another podcast with some friends, Video Game Apocalypse last night. Going to go on some more podcasts in the coming weeks.
Cool.
So yeah, the gamer's bucket list.
It's exciting. And the link's in the below.
Definitely check it out.
Oh, you're putting the graphic back up too.
Yeah, can you do that, Kevin?
I love the
Kevin, get it.
graphic, the hand gestures.
It just slides on in.
And thank you guys for having me on to talk about it. I
Oh
really
my gosh,
appreciate
it's
it.
fun.
congratulations.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's huge news.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm excited to look at it. I really do love lists, so I'm excited to break it down.
I can't wait to hear
and
from
disagree
you.
with you because that's the best part of
That's
lists.
going to happen. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this topic brought to you by tipsyelves.com. If you need a holiday sweater, an ugly Christmas sweater, you should definitely go there. Kevin, sweater me.
Oh, Lord almighty.
All right, so this sweater.
Only Kevin would mess up tossing in a
sweater.
sweater. Only Kevin would mess up
Oh my
tossing in a
God,
sweater
Kevin.
and then almost tear it apart.
Oh, God. Can you do something with that, Kevin? So this is the one that they sent Nick. No, this is Greg. Greg Miller.
I get to wear this
You
thing?
get
the Santa.
the sexy,
Centaur?
sexy Santa centaur.
Look at that
Oh,
six-pack.
Thank you.
So that's yours.
Should I put it
And
on?
then No,
Just hold it up.
just hold it. People know.
The red hooves are a nice touch.
Yeah, they are. They are.
This one here is Nick's, the Feliz Navidad, which might be my favorite. Can you hold this, Chris?
Damn, that seemed real genuine. Good work. Kevin was
Seems
definitely
real
amused.
genuine.
It was like legit.
This one-
He
this is-
legit cracked him up. He didn't
This is
see it until
Colin's.
now.
Colin's amazing Ninja Turtle style gingerbread cookies.
These are heavy,
Yeah.
like, thick
No,
sweaters.
real
Real sweaters.
Yeah.
Here's my
nice.
beautiful, beautiful reindeers getting it on shirt. So me. So yeah, if you want these shirts or a way bunch of other ones, you should go to tipsyelves.com. You can get 20% off the entire site if you use the code Kinda Funny Games. It's going to be a good time for everybody. They have a whole bunch of stuff. They have like collegiate shirts and stuff too. They also have like themed.
What does that mean?
Like, I don't
Like
know.
Mizzou shirts?
Yeah.
Can I get a Mizzou shirt there?
I don't know about Mizzou, but like there's definitely like college shirts. You should check it out.
They don't want to be wearing Mizzou shit anymore.
A lot of people are.
So yeah, go to-
Students are. We're bringing it. We're taking
they're
it
on
back.
Shark Tank.
Oh,
Tipsy Elves.
cool.
Yeah.
I love Shark Tank.
I'm
Go
out.
check them
I'm
out.
out.
Tipsyelves.com. Use the promo code Kinda Funny Games. It'll be fun. Let me know what you buy.
Did they
Look
did they succeed on Shark Tank? Is this are we by promoting these? Are we kind of promoting Mr. Wonderful?
Yes.
Wow.
Feels
Watch
good,
Shark Tank?
doesn't it?
Shark
no,
Tank's a good
not
show.
at
Oh,
all.
Shark Tank's great.
I've seen it's the Mark Cuban is on there
Yeah.
and he tells people about how much money he wants to give them or
yeah,
not.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a wonderful show.
I'll give you $10,000 for 5% of your business.
All right. Third topic of the day. I want us to predict the Game Awards winners. All right.
Greg Miller.
Yeah. Yeah. Before we even get into the topic, if it's still
Yeah, we
time,
don't know if-
which no, it should be. Yeah.
Okay.
They'll be good. No matter when you're listening to this, you should still be able to vote. I mean, if it's voting up until.
Try to vote for me.
Yeah.
Go to thegameawards.com, click on nominees, click on trending gamer, and if you can still vote for me there.
Go
You
to
can-
the library. If anyone is still logged in, vote for him there.
Yeah.
Go to your mom's house.
You vote by hashtag TGA Greg Miller or going on their site and then clicking this and going to their Facebook wall. I don't understand Facebook.
and remember, other hashtags include TGA Greg Miller's ego and
You can-
TGA PewDiePie.
No, don't do the PewDiePie. The PewDiePie one is detrimental to what we're doing. But
Yeah.
you're welcome to do TGA Greg Miller and then in a separate
In addition.
hashtag TGA Greg Miller's ego.
So what I wanted to do, I thought it'd be fun. The Game Awards are coming on either tomorrow if you're listening to this as the breakout, or next week if you're listening to this on Patreon. I wanted to go through each of the different categories, go through the nominees, and kind of say who we think's gonna win.
So
Not
are-
who we think should win.
Okay, so we're
who we
predicting
think's
what'll really
gonna
win the category. Gotcha.
Yes. And so the up front here is nominees for the Game Awards are selected by a jury of 31 international media. In some cases, the jury's provided advanced review code of upcoming games in order to meet the Game Awards judging deadlines. Games must have been commercially released by Tuesday, November 24th to be eligible for awards. Esports nominees were voted on by an advisory panel consisting of
huge bunch of
esports
nerds.
By Mitch
media
Dyer.
insights.
Yoda one.
So the people voting on it is this like collection of high ups at all the different, gaming journalism companies.
Talmadge Blevins is on this
He
panel.
is. He
Ben
is.
Howard of GameSpot.
And Howard of GameSpot.
Ben Howard.
Oh, Ben Howard. I thought you said Ben Howard.
Just
And
dude
Howard of GameSpot.
this
guy Howard we have around.
Yeah.
He's got opinions.
So it's cool. Got a couple of our friends doing some stuff there. Let's start big. Game of the year.
Oh, we're starting with the
Oh, yeah.
granddaddy
Yeah,
of them
yeah,
all.
yeah. The only way to go.
Give me the
Greg.
nominees, Tim.
Bloodborne, Fallout 4, Metal Gear Solid V, The Phantom Pain, Super Mario Maker,
Oh.
and The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt.
So see, this is this is tricky order wise because the way that these awards have worked in the past, if something wins in one category, it's like not going to sweep necessarily. I feel like part of their voting ethos is like, well, if we give this one best action adventure, then let's not give a game of the year. We've still honored it,
Yeah.
but we can give something else game
Yeah,
of
yeah,
the
we
year.
give somebody else.
I think
a
it's
nod.
Metal Gear.
Yeah.
I think it's Metal Gear because then I can see them not giving Metal Gear like the random ass other things.
And your
Fallout.
winner for random
I'm gonna
ass
say-
other thing.
I'm gonna say Fallout 4.
See, here's my thing. My dilemma is I think it'll be Super Mario Maker.
I agree.
And I think it's going to be because Fallout and Metal Gear are going to divide the votes, and then your Nintendo diehards will go through with Nintendo.
Yes.
We agree. Good
Yeah,
job.
we agree.
Someone
I think it's
chronicle
Super Mario
these
Maker.
guesses.
Tally them down.
Someone
Okay.
Tom Hawkins. Put these on the boards, Tom.
Developer of the Year, Bethesda Game Studios, CD Projekt Red, From Software, Kojima Productions,
Yeah, right.
Nintendo.
It's got to be CD Projekt.
I think it's gonna be CD Projekt as
Yeah,
well.
I agree.
Just because they really impressed.
Free
No
DLC.
one knew that they were capable.
Yeah.
Of that.
Great game, free
perfectly
DLC. They were the first thank you letter this year to fans in their game and all this stuff. Like, I definitely think that's where you honor them.
I think all that's good, but I really do think it's so much simpler. It's like that they delivered a game no one knew that they were capable of making. It's the same thing I always say about Techland with Dying Light. Like, no one knew that they could make this game.
Yep.
You know, so I think they win almost by default.
Even with The Witcher 2 being so great, the stuff that they were promising in The Witcher 3, just like, oh my God, it's going to be this big. And then, do you remember the sensation you got? Like, I don't know, I didn't play it much before release at all, but like, people who would play it would come back and would have that look in their eyes of like, holy shit, like they did it? This like Polish dude, damn.
Yeah, it's really cool. There's an Eastern European like renaissance in games right now. It's really, really cool to watch with Metro and with Witcher and with Dying Light and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of games coming out of there that are like really good.
Mm-hmm.
Best independent game. Axiom Verge gets Nick's vote for sure.
Of course.
Her Story. Ori and the Blind Forest.
Which isn't an independent game.
Rocket League.
Oh.
Undertale.
It's got to be Rocket League, but
Yeah.
I'm like, what is I'm curious about their criteria for this. Microsoft published Ori. That's not an independent game.
Moon
But
But if it's an
Studio is
independent
freestanding.
developer that
Yeah,
then they
but-
publish from,
But
that's
then
probably
Tomb
there.
Raider is an independent game. You know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah.
Like that.
I'm with you. I'm just saying.
Um,
I'm with you, Rocket League. I think Rocket
Yeah, I
League
don't think Ori's
took
gonna
the world
win
by
it anyway.
storm.
Square published. Tomb
Rocket
Raider.
League might be my personal game of the year.
I think it's
Straight
going to win Game of the Years for sure.
Yeah, I've said that too. That's I mean, I've been like a lot of, like, I know you guys like it. I've been beating the drum of that game for a long time. Where I'm like, this game's really gonna fucking blow people away. And
Yep.
I legit think that game's gonna win Game of the Year from like big outlets for sure. Yeah, I would say Rocket League out of that list. That's a great list of games though.
Yeah.
Ori was also one of my favorite. That's like the first Metroidvania I ever like 100%ed, and
Oh,
I
wow.
think it's because of the movement in it. It just felt good to go around and backtrack and stuff like that. I just like, I liked it.
But I just hate it's what just to that topic though, not to belabor the point, but it reminds me of like back in the day at IGN when we used to have conversations about, well, we used to give like downloadable game of the year, right?
Yeah.
And then we were just like, well, it's just a game. And with the same thing with independent games, it's like, why are we stigmatizing them basically as independent games? Especially when I will contend that one of those games is decidedly not independent.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're just doing it to make sure, like, to give these guys an award.
It's just downloadable small game of the year.
Yeah,
It's
that
just-
was,
I'm just like,
that'd be a
I
better
really-
way. Small studio that you. Small
I really
studio
think
game
that
of the year.
like games, like a few of those games can go head to head with the games that you listed in Game of the Year. But I
what
digress.
is Undertale? I don't know if I know what that is.
So Undertale is like it's kind of a JRPG or an RPG kind of looking thing. It looks like it's a Shining Force or an early Final Fantasy in terms of the viewpoint. But the thing is, you like in your monster, it has modern sensibilities. It's not like, I don't know if it's set in the modern day, but like when you meet a monster, you can like try to like figure out what the deal is with this monster, and like they have weird personality stuff going on, and you can like you can beat the game or get through conflicts by, you know, fighting and doing weird attacks, or by like having conversations. And it has this very subversive feel to it that takes a lot of these sort of RPG genre staples and just like makes it as if someone wrote it in like, wrote it off of some very sort of modern, my words are failing me, but like,
This is why you're a writer.
yeah.
His books.
I haven't actually played it
now.
myself.
You're doing a great job because we all would have gone. I don't know what it is.
But yeah, that's why it's been gaining a lot of attention, is because it's a sort of creative and subversive take on an RPG.
Best mobile / handheld game. Downwell. Don't know what that is. Do you?
Oh yeah, I've been playing Downwell a bunch.
Is this mobile? Is it one of your touchy touch games?
Yeah.
Get out of here. You
Nope, you
nerd.
hold it vertically, and basically your dude is always falling down a well. You can move left or right, and you can arrest your descent by shooting, or you can just keep plummeting. And there's just various enemies that you kind of try to get through, and there's power ups you can get along the way. But you know, and every time you start anew. Twitch kind of thing. Really challenging, but kind of cool. I like
Wake
it a
me
lot.
when it's on Vita and has a platinum trophy.
Fallout Shelter. Lara Croft Go. Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. And Pac-Man 256.
What a terrible fucking list. They ignore all these awesome 3DS and Vita games that came out this year for this nonsense. Danganronpa, another episode.
Next. Right in. It's going to
what-
be Fallout Shelter.
Yeah, I think
Because
Yeah, I mean, that's
everyone
the
played
thing.
Fallout Shelter.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
played Lara Croft Go, and it's cool, but it's like it never really reached the like challenge that I wanted it to.
Sure.
I agree.
Like it was always like almost awesome. Pac-Man 256, I think is fucking great. Did any of you play that at
Didn't
all?
play it.
It's super cool. It's just Pac-Man, but like on.
Is it on
freaking-
Vita?
It's like
It's
Crossy
not.
Road Pac-Man, right?
Yeah, and it's just insane. The visuals
Where's
are
Dragon
crazy.
Fin
It's like a
soup?
rave. But yeah, I think Fallout Shelter is the winner there. Best narrative: Her Story, Life is Strange, Tales from the Borderlands, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, or Until Dawn.
Life is Strange will win.
You think so?
Yeah.
Tales from the Borderlands is a critical darling as well, though.
I
don't
think
that's
Life
gonna
is Strange
win.
being new IP is gonna I think Tales from the Borderlands is gonna be a little hurt by the fact that it takes place
It's
in the
Borderlands,
Borderlands
yeah,
universe,
yeah.
which
And it was funny, but was it a great narrative? Was it a great story?
Yeah.
I see the
Wait,
argument.
Do you
Well,
think
so-
Until Dawn gets a chance?
No, I think
Unfortunately not.
I'm saying the winner will either be Her Story or Life is Strange. Because Life is Strange is definitely one people love as well.
I'm gonna before we give our answer for that one.
I
I'm gonna
just gave
skip.
my answer. It's done.
I'm gonna skip ahead a bit
What?
to.
Unprecedented.
There was a topic called Games for Change.
The fuck does that mean?
Sibel.
Yep.
Her Story, Life is Strange, Sunset, or Undertale.
What does that mean though? What is a life?
I'm
Games for
assuming it
Change.
means like.
They didn't want to say social justice games.
Yeah.
They made a step forward. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they
I don't know.
So do you
Games
think
with a
that would
message.
affect the story one? You know,
Not
like would maybe Her
necessarily.
Story, Life is Strange win this?
No, because I mean, if we're reading into change correctly, then if I'm going down your argument road and we're reading into the change correctly, then change is Life is Strange. Her Story would be story
Okay.
or narrative. Is that what it was?
Best narrative.
That's
You don't think
interesting,
that
'cause
Witcher
with-
3 will get it?
No.
Because with Her Story and with Until Dawn, I feel like maybe it's not so much the narrative as like the narrative structure, like the narrative mechanics and the way it unfolds,
Sure.
as opposed to like if you were to just sit down and read the story of it,
Yeah.
is it cool? But you know, that's all tied up in that.
Yeah, I agree with that. Until Dawn is one of my favorite games of the year by far. But it's not because of the nature. It's the nature of the story, but not the substance of the story. It's very tropey. I mean, that's the idea of the game.
4.0, bitch.
So I think, yeah, thanks, Emily. What a fantastic game, but yeah, I don't think it's the nature. It's not like fucking Children of the Corn or Rosemary's Baby or something where it's like a really brilliant horror story. It's as tropey and teen horror as it gets. So I think it was. I think Chris is right. I think that it doesn't win any points out of that. I think it wins like the uniqueness points. I think it's probably the most unique game I've played this year.
And when you're talking about story, I mean, Witcher is a great game, but like we always talk about, it's super dense. Like, you know what I mean? Once you get Ciri, what is happening? What is going on anymore?
I forgot what I played that game so long doing nothing in that game, like just doing side quests. I don't even know what the fuck the game's about anymore. I mean, that's that like so I don't know if I forgot what I was even supposed to be doing after a while.
I
Like,
feel
I don't
like
even
for
know
like
what's going on.
volume of narrative, because there's so many cool little side stories
Sure.
about little creatures and people in towns and stuff, and they all like have a spark of life to them in a way that like other open world
100%.
narrative games like don't necessarily have. But yeah, again, like in terms of kind of like a cohesive narrative experience, maybe it's not that.
Yeah, it's
All right,
definitely.
so-
I'm sorry. Yeah, go
Well,
on.
just final say. Life is Strange or Her Story? I'm gonna go Life is Strange.
For what? What are we talking
Best
about?
narrative.
I would say life. I would say Life is Strange.
Yeah, I'll go Life is Strange.
I didn't play the game, but I just know people are like crazy about.
Is
We're guessing what
is
story
Her
it was.
Story
Yeah.
in the Games for Change category
is.
as well?
That one doesn't make sense for me.
I'm gonna
Unless
go-
it's-
I don't know what that
Change.
means.
I'm gonna go Life is Strange for that one, and then Her Story for this one.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Best art direction: Batman: Arkham Knight, Bloodborne, Metal Gear Solid 5, Ori and the Blind Forest, The Witcher 3.
Ori.
All those games don't have. I don't see that. I don't see what's super special about the art direction in any of those games. They have beautiful art. Bloodborne looks like a prettier Dark Souls and a Goth. It looks like a Castlevania
Yeah.
game. I mean, I love the way the game looks. I think that Witcher obviously really set a bar very high. That's why I always say Fallout 4 is a game made in a vacuum. I mean, it's obvious. I mean, it's like there's no excuses for a game to look like Fallout 4 anymore. But
I think Ori wins.
I think
but
Ori is
I
definitely
do
the
think
one with
Metal
art
Gear
direction.
Solid 5 has a very defined art direction in terms of camera work and all that stuff that I think puts it.
but
in
is
the
that what they
lead.
mean? Because camera
Well, art direction? I don't know. That's cinematography's an art.
Is Bloodborne in any other categories?
It was in
It was game of the year.
Right. I don't think
I
it's
don't
going to be
know.
Game of the Year, so I think they want to give Bloodborne an award, so I think this might be Bloodborne.
For art direction?
Yeah.
Hmm.
I think that
I'm with
like,
Ori.
I don't know, I've actually, like, someone in the office has been playing the expansion, and just, like, the creature design in there, like, it does feel, like it does feel distinct to me from the Souls proper games, and it does feel just, like, every scene in that just, like, drips with this, like, this style. I don't know. I like it.
I mean, I definitely was super, I wasn't a huge fan of Demon Souls or Dark Souls. And when I got Bloodborne, I expected more of the same. And it did put its hooks into me because, as I was saying, it's faster.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a little tinge of arcadiness in it that made me want to play it more. I like fast moving games. And I will say that the game is the most beautiful Castlevania game I've ever seen before. And if Konami didn't have its head so far up its ass, it would go to a studio like From Software and be like, "Can you do this? You know, for one of our great IPs, because it is such a beautiful gothic eerie game." And when you look around, just to look around that city and stuff, I'm like, this is a Castlevania game, and this is a Castlevania game begging to be fucking made. So I do agree with you that it has great style, but Ori, when I think about Ori, I just see like art direction, like the
Animated
essence
film
of,
look.
yeah, I don't know, that's a tough one, but I agree with you, it's a pretty nebulous question.
Best score / soundtrack: Fallout 4, Halo 5, Metal Gear Solid 5, Ori and the Blind Forest, Witcher 3.
Metal Gear, that fucking Kadra Gugu's in that shit.
Yeah, that's the weird thing. That's the only
And
one
Kim
really with like
Wilde.
the license stuff going on. I think because of the license stuff, I'd give it to Metal Gear. But if it's just score, I'd give it to Halo.
What's the one right before Halo?
Fallout.
Yeah. Fuck.
Fallout has some weird, I've noticed, like just weird 80s sensibilities. I can't almost explain it where it's, I don't even know how to explain it. I can hear in my head like the weird chimes, and like when you see an 80s horror movie or something like that, it's like very ambient music that just like comes and goes like very quickly. They do that in like Fallout all the time, and it reminds me of watching like a thriller in the 80s or something like that. I don't know, like I can't explain it any more than that. Maybe I'll try to capture it or something next time I see it. But if they are including soundtrack, I mean, it's got to be Metal Gear, because that soundtrack is really cool.
See, I'm going Halo 5 because I don't see them giving Halo other stuff, and I do think that Halo's always been a game that is scored moment to moment. Like there's songs scored specifically for levels and for moments and stuff. Whereas Metal Gear, I mean, 5, some of the other games have distinctive themes and stuff. 5, I think, just has the freaking cigar song. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Halo is what
and it's
I would
great.
pick
I
too.
love it, but I think
pick
Halo's
Halo.
better.
I'm going Metal Gear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Best performance: Ashley Birch as Chloe Price.
Chloe from Life is
Life is
Strange.
Strange. Camilla Ludington as
Tomb
Lara
Raider.
Croft. Doug Cockle as Geralt.
Oh, Geralt.
Geralt. Never
Witcher.
played Witcher. Yeah.
Hard G.
Mark Hamill as the Joker in Batman: Arkham Knight, and Viva Seifert in Her Story.
Fuck.
Ooh.
Life is Strange.
See, I would the Hamill one's a curveball, but you have to wonder how many people are going to vote for him and how many people are going to be like, "Come on,
Yeah.
are we really?"
I mean, we need to think about who the people are voting for this.
Tao.
you
What
know?
would Tao
They're not.
pick?
They're not voting for Mark Hamill. I don't think.
Then
I
it's
think
it's Ashley. It's Life is Strange.
Okay, then there's Games for Change.
I
Then
don't
what are you
know.
thinking?
Tomb Raider, like, does Tomb Raider appear on? I'm coming back to that logic of.
Oh yeah, what is
They
getting an
want
honor
to
yet?
tip the nod
Yeah.
to Tomb Raider or something like
And
that.
Tomb Raider is like falling off a commercial cliff right now, so I wonder if they do want to bring some notice to it or whatever. A game that's getting a critical darling that's just not selling.
yeah.
I wonder if they do want to try to give it a nod. I feel so bad for Crystal. I'll just reiterate that. I feel really bad for them.
But I feel like Ashley Birch is someone that people
do.
want to get behind.
It sucks.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They put that game out
Yeah.
to die.
I think that's a strong call. Although I do think that like the fact that Her Story is just the actual actress,
Good point,
the
too.
novelty of that,
Yeah.
could carry the day. So I'm gonna go with that one.
Okay.
Okay.
Best shooter: Call of Duty Black Ops 3, Destiny: The Taken King, Halo 5, Splatoon, or Star Wars Battlefront.
Destiny.
Yeah, I say Destiny as well. I don't think it's
The story
cut
of
and
redemption.
dry,
Greg.
but it's one of those for sure. Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, you talk about critics, like all of our friends in our echo chamber are talking about it, and we're on it, and like this has made so many improvements from Destiny. This is what I wanted from Destiny Vanilla, and here we are. I get really choked up, man. And this Destiny didn't come together, but then it did, and it's what we wanted, man.
Yeah, I'm down with the Taken King. That like revitalized that in a way that almost tempted me back in.
Almost.
Almost.
Best action adventure game: Assassin's Creed Syndicate, Batman: Arkham Knight, Metal Gear Solid 5, Ori and the Blind Forest, Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Metal Gear.
Metal Gear. This is where you give Metal Gear its
Yep.
due.
Oh, show.
Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Rise. Although I
Tomb Raider Rise.
again, we're just guessing what we think is going to win. I'm
Yeah.
not, I didn't even play Metal Gear, so.
Best
What the fuck do
role
I
playing
care, Kevin?
game: Bloodborne.
Wait,
Fallout-
what is it? What is multiplayer?
Role playing.
Oh, role playing. Okay, I'm sorry.
Bloodborne, Fallout 4, Pillars of Eternity, The Witcher 3, Undertale.
This is where Bloodborne wins.
Really?
Yeah.
Over Fallout?
Yeah. Because I think Fallout's going to win Game of the Year. So,
Oh.
yeah, this seems to make the most sense. I wouldn't call it a role playing game really, but
Yeah.
I think this is where it's got role playing sensibility. So does Madden. So it's an action game. But yeah, if that's what they're going to call it. I'm
I'm voting Fallout here. Fallout.
Me too.
I'm going for The Witcher 3. I think that role playing, you're playing that role of Geralt. Now it's super literal, but like I do think that kind of the narrative heaviness of that over something like Bloodborne and then Fallout. I feel like I don't know. I think something about being able to play it first person with a gun in front of you will make people not think role playing.
Best fighting game: Guilty Gear Third Sign, Mortal Kombat X, Rise of Incarnates, Rising Thunder.
Mortal Kombat X, I'll say. I don't know.
Yeah, it's gonna be- I think the best fight. I mean, Guilty Gear is a very
Guilty
hard.
Gear is the
Guilty
one
Gear is a
that-
very
the
hardcore
hardcore,
fighting
like,
game.
I don't even know what the other
I think
two
Mortal,
are.
that's the thing. I think it'll work against it.
But Mortal Kombat will probably win.
Is one of those isn't like Seth Killian's new thing, right? That's not even out yet.
No,
right?
that's not out yet.
Okay, yeah, Mortal Kombat.
Best family game: Disney Infinity 3, Lego Dimensions, Skylanders Superchargers, Splatoon, or Mario Maker.
Splatoon.
You don't think they'll put Mario Maker here?
No.
I think it's Mario Maker unless Mario Maker wins.
I think
Overall.
it's Lego. I think that the way they did the Toys for Life stuff with the Lego integration and just having all the different properties mixed in there is like kid catnip.
I'm
Mhm.
saying Splatoon.
Yeah,
Splatoon seems like a safe one.
Yeah, I think that if you saw anything that going on with Dan Reichert and Patrick Klepek or whatever with Mario Maker, it's not a kid's game, is it? Well,
But it could.
It's making grown men want to kill themselves.
Oh my goodness. Fueling blood feuds across the nation.
Did you watch him like finish the Apocalypse or whatever it was?
No.
Yesterday?
No.
Oh, he did it.
I just
and it was
watched
good.
I watched the GIFs that he retweets, and that's enough for me.
They're great, man. I fucking love watching that shit. Best sports/racing game:
All right.
Rocket League.
FIFA, Forza Motorsport 6, NBA 2K16, Pro Evolution Soccer, Rocket League.
Rocket League. Although I think NBA will win. So I think Rocket League is the best. I'm going to say NBA will win.
Wait,
That game is
so
extraordinarily
I think I
good.
voted for Rocket League for best like independent thing. Is that right?
No.
That was a category earlier, right?
It did come up
It
earlier.
wasn't
when we all
Yeah.
picked it,
independent. Hold
Yeah,
on.
so-
It was.
Best
Yeah, it was
car
because that was
soccer
the
game.
one that Colin was all
Oh, it was
uh,
independent. You're right.
up
Mhm.
about the Ori part.
Mhm.
So it's FIFA, Madden, and NBA. What was the other one?
Forza.
Forza and Evolution Soccer.
Yeah. Oh, was FIFA and Pro Evo? on there?
FIFA and Pro Evo.
Oh, yeah. I think NBA. I think that's a series that like really, I don't know. It like perennially at GameSpot conversations, not a ton of us are like sports game players,
Yeah.
but it's like you look at that game, it's like how could you possibly make a better basketball game? I don't know.
I'm holding strong with Rocket League.
Most anticipated game: Horizon Zero Dawn, No Man's Sky, Quantum Break, The Last Guardian, Uncharted 4.
No Man's Sky will win. Horizon's the right answer, but No Man's Sky is the...
I'm gonna say Uncharted.
Uncharted 4 is like, it feels closer. I think No Man's Sky is a little tired in terms of anticipation. Like, people been on that anticipation tip for a while. I think that they will want to make a new anticipation kind of target. I think Horizon.
Horizon looks fucking awesome.
Oh my God, doesn't it look so awesome?
It really does.
All right, I'm just going to read this one, and I'm going to let
Greg Miller.
whoever wants to add shit into it. Esports Player of the Year: Kenny S. Shrub, who plays Counter-Strike Global Offensive. Lee Faker Sang-hyuk, who plays League. Aloof Meister Kajabjer, who plays Counter-Strike. Peter PPD Dagger, who plays Dota 2.
That guy.
And Syed Sumal with an I, with a number 1 as an I.
Sumail.
Hassan Sumail, who plays Dota 2.
Oh,
I'm voting that dude.
Sumail?
He's like a 16-year-old kid. He won the international with Evil Geniuses, and he was like, I don't know. People were super stoked about that. I'm going with Sumail.
He just said a bunch of words that are also written down, so
he knows.
I'm with him.
Do you watch esports?
No,
Okay.
I watched the international though because I was
Yeah.
like, all right, this I need to like
Time for me to get boned up on what this
right?
is. Yeah,
and
yeah.
I got totally into it because it was just,
Really?
yeah, just like I think the broadcast like level was enough that it allowed me, like it did what a good broadcast does. It like makes it accessible to, like I was watching the noob stream a little bit, you know, and it was like, okay, they're explaining it in some basic terms. Some of the stuff's going over my head. That's okay. I can get a loose handle on the action and see what's going on. I can supplement it by like asking a coworker. And like if I don't pay attention for 10 minutes and I come back and like I watch some more, like that's okay too. Like, you know, it was kind of like able to be that kind of casual sports-esque viewing experience for me because of the sort of and also the continuity of it year or like over weeks. You could sort of get an idea of a team's momentum, and that like gave me just like a toehold in terms of conception of the broader context.
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't understand it at all, but I do think it's cool that they're
You're one of them nerds.
awarding these people. And then there's also Esports Team of the Year, who
We have no
there's,
insight.
yeah,
into this.
Bulls.
there's no idea.
Evil geniuses.
Okay, they're on the list. Fnatic,
Fine, that's fine
Optic
with me.
Gaming, SK Telecom,
Oh, Optic Gaming I hear
and
about a lot,
Team Solomid. Yeah, I know. I've heard of them. Esports Game of the Year, we got Call of
Dota.
Duty Advanced Warfare, Counter-Strike Global Offensive, Dota 2, Hearthstone, and League of Legends.
Dota
League.
2.
Yeah, if they're giving awards to Dota 2 for those teams, as I'm confident they are, I think League's a good call because way more people play League,
People like
I think, than Dota. Is that right? You don't know. You have no idea.
I don't even acknowledge that these
Here's
games
my
really
anecdotal
exist.
evidence. I made a Dota. We had a trivia night at PAX Prime that I ran, and we had a Dota question. And like afterwards, like 50% of the teams that came up were like, "Why don't you ask us about League, huh? No one plays Dota."
Yeah,
and
I'm
like
sure
So there
we
you
were
go.
we were in
Fact.
Seattle. So yeah, anecdotally, way more people play League.
I'm one of the old men that refuses to believe anything's happening around them right now with this stuff. So it's just like I'm going down with the ship, Kevin. You understand what I'm saying?
That's gonna be a long,
going
slow
d-
descent.
I'm ready. I'll be standing on the starboard side, Kevin, waiting for this ship to crash. But it probably never crash. We're always gonna have single player games, right? On consoles. Remember when consoles were gonna die? That was the thing that was gonna happen at one time. Remember when mobile gaming was gonna kill everything?
Trending gamer. We got our boy, Total Biscuit, Christopher Monte Cristo Mickles, who I don't know who he is. I probably should. Do you?
No.
Okay.
But we don't want to promote the competition. No, we should look into these people.
Greg Miller,
Yeah.
Markiplier, who I'm a big fan of, and PewDiePie.
And for the record, we like all these guys that we know.
Who
Yes.
do I think's going to win?
I
Why?
still know,
I
of course.
heard news today that Greg is murdering everyone right
But
now.
here's the thing.
I want to let you know that like you're apparently murdering.
I'm
everyone.
aware of the
You're the
murdering
Donald
going
Trump
on,
of that fucking-
but this
of
is
that group.
very much. No one can take their foot off the fucking gas
Because
because
at any
again,
moment,
yeah.
any of those motherfuckers, confirmed, except for maybe Chris, just because I don't know who he is, he might be able to, can just be like, vote for me. And all of a
exactly, it's
sudden,
over.
we're
It's
fucked.
over. That's the problem. Last night, somebody tweeted at me and he's like, "Oh man, you're doing great. You have 56% of the vote. Closest behind you." And then he added Total Biscuit.
Oh,
and gave,
no.
I'm like, "Don't tell him.
Don't tell them.
He's a very busy man. If he doesn't know, it's like they don't. Don't worry about it."
I'm gonna say PewDiePie is gonna win, but I think that I'm pulling for my boy Greg. Obviously,
Me too.
You know, I'm pulling for my boy
Hashtag
Greg. I don't
TGA
want
Greg
Greg to
Miller.
get. I don't want Greg to get his hopes up.
And
though.
my hopes
and
are
I also
not
don't
up.
want. And I also want to jinx you because I think that the numbers might indicate that you might win.
Well,
and
again, Total Biscuit's right behind me. He's the guy who won last year, so that's the concern. Also, I like Total Biscuit. I've been on his podcast.
Yeah.
Do you think he would win 2 years in a row?
Well, if the vote is
This-
the
If
vote.
this
it's
is
a
the
vote
fan
one.
one. This is
This is
You're
pure
talking about
fan
some
vote.
engineering here, and I appreciate it, but
if the critics were voting on this, there's not a shot in hell of Greg Miller winning this. You kidding me? I've made enemies left and right.
That'd be
your
fucking
association
awesome.
with me alone would lose you the vote.
I'm really, really interested in this, and I'm pulling for you so hard. I
you.
think this would be fucking so awesome
Yeah,
if you won.
We're gonna
this.
put it right there. if we
Remember
get it.
what you were gonna do if you win.
No, I that was a
What
joke.
is it? What is it?
I said for
Well-
Colin said he'd give me $2,000. Well, it went that I said I'd get up and say 9/11 was an inside job, and Colin's like, "I'll give you $2,000 cash if you do that." But
I will.
I immediately
I'll
said
fucking
no.
fly down there
I
and give you the money.
immediately said
He's got a
no.
And my
briefcase
dad- and
just
my-
waiting on the wings.
My father's a New York City firefighter, all right? And I'm still telling you
If Jeff
that you need to go up there
If
and
Jeff
say
Keighley
that.
is listening, I'm not going to do that. You don't have to disqualify me or throw out my votes. That is not going to happen.
Oh man, that is
I
so
think Greg
funny.
Miller winning that is going to be an
$3,000.
inside job.
$3,000.
Oh, it's going up.
Final one. Best fan creation. We got GTA 5 Targets, the by Hoodoo Operator, Real GTA by Corridor Digital,
Oh.
Portal Stories, Mel by Prism Studios, Super Mario Maker e-reader levels by Bad Boy 78 / They Call Me Shaky, Twitch Plays Dark Souls with the Twitch community. This is cool. I
The
like
Dark
that
Souls
this-
one was really cool, and that's the only one I really know. So.
I like
Yeah, I
that
don't
this
know
is a
much
thing,
of
and the e-reader levels are cool. Like some guy in Mario Maker remade all of the. Remember the e-reader on the GBA and had all those like exclusive Mario 3 levels. He like remade
It was
it.
obnoxious.
It was
That
But
whole
they're
idea
great
was
levels
obnoxious.
though.
I hated it.
So that's cool.
It says reader right in the title. What the hell?
I'm gonna.
I
I
feel like,
want Corridor Digital to win because that real GTA video was on another fucking level.
yeah, I feel like it's got. I feel like GTA that like community of people generating content out of that has been felt pretty strong this whole year. I think GTA has to get a nod here.
Yeah, I don't know what the Targets thing is by Hoodoo Operator, but I'm just gonna go with the quarter one because I like them.
Hoodoo
Cool.
Operator.
We'll see how right we are.
How
Go
many,
vote for
how
Greg.
many hashtag Colin was right tweets will we have to view?
Oh man.
Use the goddamn hashtag. You guys are getting a little lackadaisical out there. I don't like it. Your boy Colin M predicted Fallout 4 to a T. Did he not, Kevin? Did he not?
He did.
Let's never forget that. all
Let's
right?
never forget.
Your boy Colin M called Rocket League a year out. A year out. Let's not forget. Yeah, I'm wrong about a lot of shit, but we don't have to worry about any of that.
There's no hashtag for that.
Colin,
What would it even be?
Colin, I can't recall who said that Tomb Raider's sales were going to get cannibalized by Fallout.
Oh, me, your boy Colin M. But that was an easy one. But that was, you know what I'm saying, Kevin? That was an easy one. That was as obvious as the fucking sky is blue and the day is long. Tomb Raider was going to suffer mightily because of Fallout 4. But what are you going to do? There's nothing you can do about it. Yeah, when it comes on PS4, it's going to be fine. Probably not. Probably no one's probably going to care there either, to be honest with you. But I want to reiterate. I really feel bad. I rarely feel bad for developers. I really feel bad for Crystal. Could you imagine them looking at like Microsoft hasn't said a fucking goddamn thing about that game's sales.
Did you see that the joke tweet that someone, I forgot who said this, but they're like, wow, it's crazy. The embargo for the review of Tomb Raider's a year out.
That is funny. I feel bad for them because imagine that game is getting critical acclaim across the board, and it's just the nature of when it came out. And we had Aaron Greenberg on the podcast, and he had some great explanations as to why they can't move it, and I appreciate that. But that game was sent to die, and I don't feel bad for Square because I'm sure there was a lot of money made on the deal, but I feel really bad for Crystal.
Do we have American numbers or those?
We're not
going to
get American numbers till next month, and then we're gonna have to. The NPD game that you have to play is a tough game because, and it's a fun game. I'm obsessed with it. I'm actually completely obsessed with the NPD.
It goes
game.
Mega Man 2, NPD.
Yeah, NPD.
Mega Man 3.
I've been obsessed with
Excuse me.
NPD for years. And we used to get real numbers, and that, that's kind of stopped. And Nintendo's really the only one that reports the numbers, which I respect. I respect that they say exactly what they sold, even though and Wii was getting tanked, and like they're still saying it, and I think that's really cool. But you have to figure out, like, say Tomb Raider's like number 5, right, next month, and then you have the numbers for number 3. And then you're like, okay, it can't be any higher than this. But then at number 10 is Rock Band or whatever, and it sold this many copies. And you're like, so it's got to be somewhere in there somewhere. But then it's only in the United States, and the Xbox One's strongest here. So then you have to kind of extrapolate those numbers. It's a whole. There's NeoGAF threads dedicated to this that go down the rabbit hole so fucking far that like it's awesome. I read all. I like to sit in bed for hours and I just read people's charts and their conspiracy theories.
Was that
It's
what
awesome.
that like glow and like acrid smell
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
light chanting was all about in the back? It's like your NPD altar.
It is. I love sales data. I love that in the UK and in Japan they report data, and they don't report data here numerically. And also NPD is becoming useless anyway. Like it's not accounting for retail sales and all that kind of stuff. Then you have to guess about retail. There was a whole fight about Halos. So, people got mad at me on the Facebook our Facebook fan page because I said Halo's launch was soft, and I'm like, but it was compared to Halo 4 and Halo 3 and Halo 2. But we are just anecdotally figuring this out. We don't really know because then Microsoft releases stuff being like, it's the most played game today on Xbox, and I'm like, what the fuck does that mean?
People have played 2.8 billion hours
like,
of Halo in the
Jesus.
first week of release.
God, like, could
There's not that many
someone
hours in the week.
just say what the fuck a game sold, please? For your boy, Colin M. Can they just release some sales numbers?
You're in rare form, Colin M.
Just send me a text. Just a number. That's all I need.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I'm not even gonna get into it anymore. Fuck it.
as always, the last topic's brought to you by the Kind of Funny forums. Go to kindoffunny.com/gamescast topic to leave a post about what you want us to answer on this beautiful, beautiful show for all the beautiful, beautiful kids. The big,
Big beautiful kids.
As we call them during the
Extra life.
extra life.
Valiant Villain says, hey, gentlemen, my question today is this. Do you think you'll play video games forever? With the rise of VR and mobile, gaming seems to be headed in a different direction. With big series like Metal Gear and Witcher coming to an end, gaming stepping into a new age, and one I seem to be slowly narrowing my interest in.
Oh,
So
no.
again, I ask, will you be a gamer forever?
Yes.
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 I mean, that's my biggest concern why I want to die young is that I don't want to get to the point where I can't use the controller, or keep my fingers up, or move around.
Dude,
You
by
know what I
that
mean?
point, there's going to be other controller inputs are going to be there.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
what I'm holding
it's
out
gonna
for.
be fine.
Remember when we played Infamous Second Son using our eyes?
Yeah, I do remember that actually.
That was really weird, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And that was just a test Sony was doing, but it was cool. Like you could replace the right
Left
the
analog.
left analog stick with your eyes by like looking at the screen and stuff like that. And it was
Oh
really
wait, no,
cool.
it would be.
left.
Your
No,
right.
it would be-
You're
Yeah, it was right.
You're
I
right.
was
You're right.
You're fucking me up.
Weird.
Well, you hesitated, and then I said it, and you know I don't know my right from my left.
You don't know a lot.
I would tell you that story. I was once driving, and I'm driving, and Poe's shotgun, and Poe goes, "All right, make a left here," whatever it was, and I did this on the wheel, and he goes, "Are you fucking kidding?" we were college students.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a second.
I want to. I will always be a gamer. I will always play the games that we grew up with and that we're playing now. I don't agree that the nature of gaming is changing. Like I think that it was. I was fearful that it was, and that was what I was kidding around before about going down with the ship, because I'm not gonna this mobile free to play race to the bottom fucking garbage. I'm not playing that stuff. And what we've seen this generation is a renaissance in console sales. And what we were talking about before was that, PlayStation 4 at about 30 million shipped, more than that now because the numbers were reported September 30th, is about to pass N64 after 2 years on the market. Its next target is Super Nintendo and Genesis. It's like pretty incredible how quickly it's selling, and Atari 2600. And then slowly it's going to be 50 and then 60 and then 70. And then, the console's not going to stop. Xbox One and PS4 combined are selling 60% better than their predecessors at this point on the market. So I do think that it's not going to stop anytime soon. And I think VR is going to have more hardcore sensibilities. I think what people are afraid about with VR is that it's also going to have non-gaming implications, which I think is going to help proliferate it. So tourism,
Absolutely. I think the non-gaming implications are going to be how VR gets into people's homes and how people get their fire lit about VR. I mean, so many production companies in Hollywood are already working on VR stuff just because the applications beyond gaming are really going to be the thing that makes that thing catch on. I think that gaming is gaming is broadening, and I think that the console sales speak to that. Like, there's a broader market of people who are like, yeah, I'll spend money on a console, but then there's also people who are not paying a dime and they're playing free to play stuff and they're playing on their phone. And I think that it's just going to continue, evolving. And the games that we see now, we're going to see a lot of those in 50 years, but we're also going to see a lot of different stuff, and it's going to be friggin' cool.
Yeah, I'm really interested. I'm never going to stop playing games, but at the same time, I think me playing games, I've already stopped. Like, I feel like I hit that point where things just aren't the same anymore. Like, I grew up being in love with these things and like them all being these fresh new experiences. And I feel like it's been a really long time since I've been before it was my life playing the games. Now my life is the games and I like the games, but playing them is not so much my de facto standard of what I need to do. And I hope that changes, but I don't see it changing.
Well, yeah, the parameters of your life change as you grow older. Your job situation, your family situation, your living situation, all this changes. And gaming, I think there's so many different ways for gaming to adapt to that. Did I beat The Witcher 3? No. Is it like one of my favorite games of the year? Yeah. Am I ever going to beat another open world adventure game in my life? Very possible I will not. I mean, just because the trend on those things is like you got to put 200 hours into it. Am I going to play another 200 matches of Rocket League? Probably. But, that's all going to depend on what kind of time I have available. And I think that gaming is articulated enough that you can fit it in if you want to. And so, as long as you're getting the kind of satisfaction, you're finding the kind of satisfaction you like from games, there's no reason to stop.
Yeah,
definitely.
Can't stop.
Won't stop.
Xavier Alonso says, hey guys, I was wondering, what was that special game that made you love a genre that you weren't too fond of? For me, it was Lunar Silver Star Story Complete on PS1. First JRPG that hooked me till the end. Love the shows. Keep up the good work.
It's a fantastic game. That's a fantastic game, man. Working Designs back in the late 90s was doing work, dude, like to get some of these games over. And
it's right there in the title.
Yeah, it is. Lunar Silver Star Story and Eternal Blue, whatever, these are games that we never dreamed we were going to get in that form, especially because of their heritage on Sega systems. So it's that's a great example of a game that they get people in the JRPGs. I want to say that Medal of Honor, the original Medal of Honor, is probably the game that got me into shooters. I'm a huge shooter fan now. I don't play them online, but I like playing single player shooters a lot, and I have a soft spot for Resistance, and I have a soft spot for Singularity, and even third person shooters like Vanquish. And I wasn't a shooter guy. I was a role playing game and an action and a side scrolling guy when growing up in the late 80s, early 90s, and into the 90s, and was a huge into them. My PS1 was like my fucking RPG machine. And when I played Medal of Honor, I'm like, this is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
This is really, really, really awesome, and it made me appreciate shooters and made me want to play them. So I would say that's probably the example. That's still a really special game.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Fire Emblem because up until then I like platformers, I liked light RPGs like Pokemon and stuff like that, and even Final Fantasy. But I'd never really gotten into the strategy stuff at all. And it wasn't until Melee when I found out Marth and Roy were characters from a franchise I didn't even know about. I was like, I like these characters. They're the ones I use. I want to know what game they're from. And I started playing and I was just like, holy shit, this is a whole type of game I didn't even know existed. And then since then, there's, I played a whole bunch of dabbling in Final Fantasy Tactics and Tactics Ogre and all that stuff.
Classic games.
And it's cool. That genre is so amazing. It's probably one of my favorite types of gameplay that I didn't even know existed until a couple of years ago.
Yeah, we don't get many of them anymore either, which is a shame. Valkyria Chronicles coming to PS4, which is which is huge. And that's going to be the next big one we get, I think.
For me, Advance Wars. I was not a fan of like turn-based strategy like that or whatever, and I just never found a game that clicked for me. I tried different things, and that was a PC thing too for a long, long time. But Advance Wars on DS, man, that was it. Or no,
Game Boy Advance.
Thank you. Sorry, I think I might have ended up playing it again on my DS. Game Boy Advance. That was. I mean, I remember being downstairs with the light on, trying to get the more light on the screen to play to see where it's at, and the fog of war and all that shit. That was awesome.
I can't say that it like particularly ignited a lasting passion for RTSs, but when I played Comet Crash on PlayStation 3,
That's
I
a good game.
got so into it. It was this like one screen, that you don't scroll around the map. You're basically a floating spaceship, and you're building structures that automatically generate units that will just automatically stream towards the enemy. So it was part RTS and part it was more like tower defense and tower offense. So you would build your generators, and you would also build your defensive turrets in a way that would create a maze for the other units to go through. And I just got so into that game. A couple coworkers of mine did as well. And so, there's nothing like having a coworker next to you in their desk and to get you fired up about a game.
Yeah.
Because you can play with them. They're right there. Comet Crash. Yeah, that was a fascinating game.
That's a deep cut. I appreciate that you even know that game because a lot of people just.
I knew you would like that one, Colin.
Yeah, I love PSN.
That's for your boy Colin M.
I love PSN deep cuts more than anything in this world.
Chrono206 says, what are the chances for a Ninja Gaiden collection / Ninja Gaiden 4 announcement? Thanks, and keep up the good work. Do you have any insight into this, Colin?
No, it's minimal, I think. I think that, he's talking about Ninja Gaiden, like the reimagining of Ninja Gaiden.
I think it would have happened. I mean, we already kind of did get the re-release on last gen.
Yeah, and Sigma games and all that kind of stuff were coming out. And the thing about Ninja Gaiden that I think, about the Xbox Ninja Gaiden games were that people really loved that first one. It was brutally hard. I mean, that game was really good. But I don't think that there was a lot of diminishing returns, I think, with that series for a lot of people. And
I think it was
that,
just up to 3.
Yeah,
people love 2.
Yeah, people like 2, but I think that it reminds me of Devil May Cry a little bit, where I think that people, or even Onimusha, where I think people are like, all right, like, we don't really need this anymore. Of course, we do need more Onimusha, but
Yes.
but I think that what I would like to see Tecmo do with that IP is go back to the originals, because Ninja Gaiden 1, 2, and 3 on NES are like really exceptional games. They're a mixture of Mega Man and Castlevania basically in their mechanics. They're very fast games though. But the sub weapon up B kind of thing, like to use your sub weapons, it's a very Castlevania game. It's very inspired by that, but it's more inspired by Mega Man in terms of its stage layout and stuff like that. And it's brutally fucking hard. And so that was always been Ninja Gaiden's hallmark, is the difficulty. The first Ninja Gaiden game is fucking really hard. These are really hard games. And I'd love to see them like go back similar to what Capcom did with Mega Man 9 and 10 and go back and make those games again. To like do something a little simpler, a little cheaper. They can probably make a game like that for $1 million or less. So it's, I'd prefer to see them do something like that. I don't think you're going to see much more Ninja Gaiden. You saw a little bit of a renaissance with it on Vita actually, but, yeah, I don't think so.
You can't ever count out a name like that has some kind of cachet in video game history, right? Just because of the fiendish love for nostalgia that runs through the whole industry. But I do think that they will have to do something like Tomb Raider-esque. Like, there'll have to be some kind of rebooting element to it. It'll have to take some kind of modern form that takes, the challenge and the nimbleness of, Ryu Hayabusa, and then makes it maybe it's a platformer, 2D platformer, maybe it's an open world game. I don't know, whatever. They need some strong game design gimmick and then attach the name to it. It's the name is not going to lead that development, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the conundrum is, it reminds me a little bit of Strider, where they made that, Capcom put out that Strider almost 2.5 HD Castle or Metroidvania kind of game. And I actually thought it was like really underrated. I thought that game was fucking awesome. I think that you need to go back to its core and then figure out what made it good to begin with,
Mm-hmm.
and then go from there. I'm with you though, in the sense that Tecmo Koei doesn't really need to do this because it reminds me a little bit of Valve to a much lesser degree. Where we talk about Half-Life 3 and like the imperative of doing it. Like, there's no reason for them to make that game. They will, but there's no reason for them to actually do it. And I think with Tecmo Koei, they found some money makers in Dead or Alive. They found money makers even in the Atelier games and stuff like that, where it's like you don't need to take too many risks. This isn't a huge publisher to make a game like Ninja Gaiden and to make it viable. Like, they don't really, when you think about it, they don't really make AAA games anymore. Like real. If you don't count them as SO games and stuff like that, which I don't. I think they're A games, but I don't think Omega Force makes AAA games. You have to wonder the viability of even a company like that investing the money, because to make a proper Ninja Gaiden game that this person's probably envisioning would cost $30-40 million maybe. So it's not a cheap investment.
Yeah. I disagree with you guys. I think that there is definitely a chance of us getting more, because I think that there is like a hole for that type of game that we're not really getting so much in this generation. Like, there's Bloodborne and there's stuff like that, but that's different than
way different
than the Devil May Cries and those things, and like this generation, like the Bayonettas and stuff. And when you're looking at like the PS4 and Xbox One, there's not enough. Like, there isn't too much for those hardcore motherfuckers.
Sure.
I wouldn't be surprised if sometime we saw an announcement. I don't think it'd be a Tomb Raider-esque reboot, but at least like a reboot of the Xbox franchise with Platinum.
Sure, but remember, to that point, you could be right, but remember that the trends in these kinds of games, Bayonetta 2 wouldn't have happened if it wasn't on a Nintendo console. That no one else wanted it. Sega didn't want it. If you look at games like DMC, like Ninja Theory is not going to do another DMC game. They could have very easily. It didn't sell that well. They re-released Devil May Cry 4 HD. I don't think it did that well. They're exploring games like Darksiders, which is more of a Zelda-esque game, but still a third-person action game. You're right, but I don't know if it's going to be a Ninja Gaiden game. I wouldn't mind seeing it. I like Ryo Hayabusa or Ryu.
Lone Desk 42 says, "Hi guys, what do you think are the positives and negatives about backwards compatibility for the Xbox One?" I don't know if there's many negatives.
There's no negative for the consumer.
Yeah.
There's a lot of negatives for the publishers. These
They've
are
robbed them of all their HD remake stuff.
Yeah, that and
remastered.
I think it's got blowback on Sony now because a studio, like we talk about Mass Effect, right? There's got to be a Mass Effect trilogy HD re-released on PS4 in time for Andromeda, yet there's no need for that on Xbox. So does EA put in the work to release that only on PlayStation? They're like cutting their audience in half. I think the optics of it is really bad, actually, for them to even fuck with that. It put Microsoft. That's why I think that was the biggest announcement at E3, because that really fucking put Sony on the ropes in terms of what they're doing with Gaikai and PlayStation Now and stuff like that, and didn't show tone deafness, but showed a pretty shrewd changing of strategy on Microsoft's part, that they're actually going to sacrifice the dollars they can get from HD remakes by making Xbox Live basically.
I wonder how much that
available.
actually would affect sales, though. Like, just like the fact that you could play the old one on it, would that really affect an HD version of those games being made? And like,
they're already in HD, so that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I do,
like
because
definitive edition or whatever.
But you could get if you can get Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 for $30 combined on Xbox Live, or you can buy them for $60 on Xbox One on a disc like that. I mean, that's going to look bad.
But I mean, if there's like added stuff and it's like, the definitive edition, and it's more, I don't know.
All the
personally,
DLC and this,
I'd
that, and
want
the
that
other.
stuff. Like,
I would
like,
too,
even
but
now thinking
I mean,
about
you
it.
can predict is pretty easily how that's going to go down. I think.
But I mean, I think it's like also just the ease of use of how people buy games. Like, yeah, the people that are like real thrifty motherfuckers are like, well, I could buy it like this, but the majority of people are just going to see the $60 game on the storefront and be like, oh, I want that.
Yeah.
It'll definitely distract some, but I don't think it'll distract a majority.
Let's see. Let's end on this one. Chetty says, "Hey guys, every once in a while I'll see a games journalist tweet a link to an article on a competitor's site. I don't quite understand why someone would want to drive traffic to a competitor's site, especially if their outlet has already posted an article about the topic. Can you talk about the strange competition between gaming media sites, or maybe the lack thereof? Thanks, and keep up the fantastic work." Thought this was an interesting one to have with you on the show.
I work for a games media website. Yeah. So, like, speaking personally, if I am tweeting something from a competitor's site, it's because, I mean, I don't, maybe to my employer's chagrin, I don't necessarily scour to be like, do we have this version of the site? I mean, if it's a news article, yeah. But if it's a feature, and then we're not going to have that feature on our site. And so I'm going to link to that site because I find it interesting, and because, like, for me, it's about, and for I think of a lot of my coworkers, it's about just like being kind of a well-rounded like consumer of media. Like I tweet GameSpot stuff a lot, but I don't want to be only tweeting GameSpot stuff, I want to be perceived as I am, an omnivore of games media coverage. I do check out other sites, I do follow other links, and I'm interested, where interesting content is. I'm gonna show the stuff that I do and the stuff that my coworkers do that I think is cool, but I'm definitely also like down with sharing stuff that you guys do and other people do that is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, honestly, I think it's definitely just the generation we're in now of it all, right? Of like, I think the walls and the barriers have fallen away. Like now it very much is everybody's people. I remember when I started at IGN and like we hated GameSpot and GameSpot hated us. And like Brad Shoemaker and I'll joke around about it now, how like they weren't supposed to talk to us at events and like we'd be next to each other and we wouldn't say anything to, you know what I mean? And like now Brad's a friend and he's super cool. And it's like, man, that was weird that when we started, it was so old school that it was like, for real, Jets and Sharks kind of shit. Like, don't react.
It was
you know what I
odd,
mean?
yeah. But like and speaking of Jets and Sharks, anytime I see like IGN people on
Yeah.
the street, I like to pull this move.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just really fun.
Exactly. And so now, but now it's one of those things where I think the industry is like, there's the site and then there's you. And like, just the fact that you go and hang out with all these people who work at different places and you want to support your friends and everybody moves around too. The business is very incestuous now. It's incestuous.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also think people not to go too far into it or whatever. One of the people that I really admire is Jason Schreier at Kotaku, and I think he does great work. I think Gawker overall is shit, and I mean, I've said that pretty openly. Like I think that site that body of sites lacks scruples. I think that they are going way overboard with the way they attack people. They out people and they do all sorts of fucked up shit. But that doesn't reflect the way I feel about Jason's work. You know what I mean? I think Jason and Patrick over there are doing great work, and I'm friends with them, and I link to their stuff. So you can have an intellectually honest conversation about, like, I think Gawker is garbage. But I don't think Kotaku is garbage, and I don't think the people that work there are garbage. I think that they're some of the best people in the industry. And so you have to look at things like selectively and find the people that you trust and you're like. It doesn't necessarily mean you endorse the outlet, and it doesn't mean necessarily that you endorse everyone that works there. When I worked at IGN, my opinions run very not parallel to many people's at my site, and they still let me write and still let me say what I needed to say, and I still do those things to this day. So I think it's part of being intellectually honest is finding the people that you like and linking to those things and the pertinent stories. When someone breaks a big scoop, it might be easiest to go to your site and then link out to the citation of that, but maybe it's better and more honest to link to the original source. So that's the kind of stuff that that's kind of how I feel about it anyway.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of just supporting people. So it's like any way you can actually support the individuals, I think that's a good thing. And like when 99% of this stuff is just the exact same news story said by 10 different people in slightly different ways, it's like it doesn't matter. But whenever someone does a creative feature, or not even creative, just a feature that I'm like, oh, this is interesting for whatever reason, I like sharing that stuff. And even when it's like videos and things, like I had a different experience because I was in the video team at IGN, but like it got really weird sometimes when instead of our competitors being GameSpot, it was our competitors being YouTube. And like if I post, like I got pulled aside sometimes for just like, oh, why are you promoting this YouTube channel? It's like, this has nothing to do with what we're doing.
Right.
But then that was like old school kind of.
Yep.
That was the old school of the new school. Like there's been phases, and like
People waking up to
now
what it is
people
right
get
now.
it. Now
Yeah.
people are like, oh, this is the era of collaboration. This is the era of everybody kind of like being friends with each other because that's how people kind of grow. And if you're not doing that, if you're being a dick and you're just like, what I say is all that matters, your shit's not good, or I'm not even going to talk about your stuff, you're going to fall behind and you're not going to go anywhere. Like it's, I think, very important for you to support the people that you think are doing cool things in your area of expertise, because like that's what is going to make you grow, and that's going to make those people look at you in a different way. Like today, BuzzFeed put out the start of their new like 12-part series that you can buy on iTunes and get it early and stuff. And this is their first BuzzFeed motion pictures. Like it's like a movie that they're putting out. I'm like, I support that. Like I'm excited to watch it, and I tweeted about it. I was like, you should go support this. See if this is cool. And like I like that. I like that there's people doing different things, and like, you guys are going to tell me not to do that shit, because why would you?
Well, I think you have free will, so you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But
Everyone has free will in this company except Kevin.
Yeah, I think you just have. I agree with you. It reminds me a little bit of like things have changed. I've been in this industry, and Greg has long enough to know that it's changed radically into the way we look at our competitors. And I agree that the old way of doing things is dying. So like people have to get on board or perish. And so to Chris's point, like if you see a great article, you should support it. That's why I was so bummed about Grantland. Like, and I used to say, even when I worked at IGN, I used to be like, Grantland is the best website on the internet. You know, like, and like I said that as an employee of another website. That's just me being honest with the way I feel. It doesn't mean that I hate the things that I used to do. It means that this is fucking good. And so then you find the individuals like Bill Simmons, for instance, and you can follow them around. It's becoming about individuals and about, you don't need an audience of millions anymore to survive and to reach people and stuff. So I think it's all positive, but I think people have to remember to not throw the baby out with the bathwater sometimes with this shit, you know, like, and that's my Gawker example where I was so disgusted with what they did to that guy from Condé Nast. I thought it was like one of the fucking most disgusting things I've ever seen in my life, but that's not Jason's fault. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, so, you know, that's kind of where I stand on that.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Kind of Funny Gamescast, the first ever, episode 47, in fact. Chris, thank you so much for joining us.
You guys, it's been awesome. This has been really fun. Thank you for hosting me.
Once
Thank
again,
you guys for having me.
buy his book.
Yeah, buy the book.
It's on Amazon. Links
It's
in
a
the
really fun
description.
read. I think you're going to like it. You're going to laugh. You're going to feel good in your heart.
You're gonna
It's
cry.
going to be
So
great.
many emotions.
You might feel emotions, man. There's some emotional video games
There
out
is.
there.
There definitely is. Thank you guys. As always,
Thank you.
you know.
Yeah, here we are. I
Thank
got to
you.
go lay down. My back hurts.
Yeah, things are happening. Bye. Love you.